Greetings and salutations. This is the voice of Loquacious of Herd, bringing you his afterthoughts on My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Season 7, Episode 16, titled Campfire Tales. I heartily suggest you find and watch the episode itself sans commentary before proceeding with either this Afterthoughts review or viewing my reaction, which is hosted at the link in the description. Please support the official release. Be warned, this Afterthoughts review will contain spoilers for the episode itself. With that out of the way, on to the review. We start off with a lovely callback to Sleepless in Ponyville, as the trio of Big Sisters and Little Sisters are once again off on what is now apparently an annual camping trip to Winsome Falls. From what I can tell, My Little Pony does not concern itself overly much with timelines. Indeed, the first few seasons are quite the mix-mash of episodes which are nearly impossible to place in anything like a seasonally appropriate timeline. Later seasons are a bit less chronologically confusing, and in general, it seems safe enough to assume that the events of each season occur after the events of the previous season. So, I find it particularly refreshing when the show throws the occasional nugget of continuity which helps anchor events in an overarching chronology. To wit,
we should do the annual Big Sister, Little Sister camping trip every weekend.
Then it wouldn't be annual. And if we did it every weekend, it probably wouldn't be as special.
So, at the very least, roughly 1 year has passed since Sleepless in Ponyville. Possibly more than 1 year. Also, it's good to see that, as Rarity comments,
I heard that. I've gotten much better at roughing it, haven't I?
Yep. This time you only packed 3 suitcases.
huzzah on our favorite fashion horse finding a happy wardrobe medium for the camping trip. So, what will Sleepless in Ponyville 2.0 have as its central plot? A new swarm of the century? What are those things? Is this episode going to be another foray into the perils of pest control?
Flighters are from the Luna Bay area. Never seen them this far east, though. Probably attracted to the food. Best wait here until they're gone.
Oh, apple rot. What are we supposed to do now? We got games to play and marshmallows to roast at camp, and here we got nothing. That's not entirely true. We have each other.
That's right. And if you girls want to, maybe we could tell some stories to pass the time.
Ah, I see. This will be an exercise in that ancient literary device of separate scene storytelling, where the whole have to wait out the trouble outside and pass the time sharing tales thing is the framing device for some lovely bits of lore. As a fan of such classics as the Canterbury Tales and the Arabian Nights, I'm down with this. I'm always interested in hearing more about the olden pony times. It becomes rapidly clear how this is going to work. Each of the 3 elder sister figures, Applejack, Rarity, and Rainbow Dash, recounts the tale of their favorite legendary pony from ancient or not-so-ancient Equestria. And as we get into the tales, we get a wonderful reminder from Sweetie Belle.
He was so strong, and when he... Apple Bloom! Shh! We haven't heard it yet!
In other words, no spoilers! Applejack's tale involves an earth pony named Rockhoof, part of a Viking-like community of seafaring earth ponies who have a real, sort of a Norse adventurer vibe about them. And their noble warriors of the Mighty Helm seem like the sort of ponies who would have all sorts of legends spring up around them. The setting of the village makes me think of How to Train Your Dragon. I don't necessarily think this is an homage, especially given the lack of dragons. Why, not even Spike is around for this tale. But instead, this story centers around being true to oneself, finding one's own inner strength, finding one's place in the world, and the importance of protecting hearth, home, and family. It's a good story for Applejack to tell, and I can see, what with much of her own life focus on some very similar themes, how Rockhoof would be a hero Applejack could relate to. And, well, as we get to the climax of the story...
This is my favorite part!
The whole business of Rockhoof having to divert the oncoming lava flow from the erupting volcano to save the village, that bit reminded me strongly of an Avatar: The Last Airbender episode, specifically The Fortune Teller. given that I enjoyed the Avatar series and found that particular episode amusing, I'm pleased for this little pony homage, if homage it is. Story done, back to the framing device.
Why don't we see if it's safe to head back to camp?
Girls?
There is no camp to go back to.
Yeah, time for another story within the story. Next up, Rarity. While Applejack's tale wasn't directly about honesty, Rarity's is all about both beauty and generosity. I enjoyed how this helped reinforce the idea of Rarity's element of harmony without beating the viewer too savagely about the head and shoulders with the whole Rarity's being generous thing. Indeed, the story of the unicorn Mistmane was my own personal favorite of the three legends. Set in some indeterminate Far Eastern setting, the curved horns of the Asiatic unicorns was a very nice touch. We hear of how the Mistmane was beautiful and powerful. Then an old friend turned bitter out of jealousy, the resulting confrontation occurred, a redemptive resolution fueled by personal sacrifice rather than a purely destructive undoing of a foe, and with that resolution being followed by a period of healing and renewal. I also liked the underlying message about the proper role and perils of beauty, that at its best, beauty is a thing which inspires and comforts all around it, so that it is something to be shared, not hoarded, which serves as a welcome insight into Rarity's own character as both fashion diva and pony of generosity. Really, Mistmane's story felt like a microcosm of the whole My Little Pony storytelling experience. For me, it hit all the high points, and it did it in a fun and gorgeous manner. Plus, watching two unicorns shape their magic into Eastern dragon avatars to duke it out, now that makes for an impressive magic duel. Silly Empress. Any student of the Way of the Five Elements could tell you water overcomes fire. You need an earth dragon to beat a water dragon. So, have things cleared up outside yet? Nope. So, after some quick thinking and quick action, by Rainbow Dash winds up trapping the ponies in the cave, but keeps the insectoid Menace out, it's time for the third of our legendary stories. Rainbow Dash recounts the tale of Flash Magnus, a very Roman legion sort of Pegasus, who winds up using bravery and guile to best a most unfriendly pair of dragons and free his trapped comrades, an act for which he is lauded and rewarded. In addition to giving us a peek at yet another ancient pony culture, I find it particularly interesting that Rainbow Dash's hero of old isn't just about strength or speed or physical prowess. What really wins the day is planning, boldness, improvisation, and quick thinking. With Rainbow Dash frequently cast in the role of the jock, it's very nice to see that they're still actively challenging certain stereotypes by having the jock, in this case, value brains as well as brawn. The ponies, when written well, are broader and deeper people than just a few obvious, superficial, or archetypal character roles. So, we come to the end of the three legends. Storytime is done, and all that is left is to close the frame of the present around these pictures of the past. One quick swim down an underground river later, and the six ponies emerge at Winsome Falls, where Applejack expresses her sorrow that the whole camping trip thing didn't really work out as planned.
We sure are sorry that our camping trip wasn't what we hoped it would be.
Are you kidding? This trip is awesome! It is? We got to hear legendary stories and go on an adventure.
I must agree. Watching bonding and adventures with the various sister pairings is nice. This whole rather low-key, let me tell you a story thing is a delightful way to help provide more lore and insight into the world of Equestria. I approve, and I hope you, my dear viewers, enjoyed it too. If you wish to see my full reaction to My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 7 Episode 16, titled Campfire Tales, the link, as I mentioned earlier, is in the description. Feel free to leave any comments or likes for that reaction here on this Afterthoughts review. And until next time, as always, kindly remember, y'all are awesome. Stay awesome.